Where in the world you are. How you doing, everybody? This is Tom Simkiss and Lee Briggs. This is the last Afternoons with Aces series for 2024 on the cloud reporting series. We actually do have one additional one planned for either November or December with fellow ace Andrew Bonet from Innovate Tax. We're just trying to finalize those details. I do appreciate everybody joining for this last session. We had a really good turnout for the last meeting we had, I think, on Friday. Where we were covering OTBI. And you're going to be able to take some of those skills that you have gained from that session and apply them to dashboards and Infotiles today. And that's really what the main focus is. So let's go through our agenda real quick. We'll do our introductions and then we'll kind of get into it. So we're going to do introductions, Creole and SMX and Lee and I, and then we'll talk about what an infolet is. That is an Oracle specific word. We'll talk about how you create the analysis to support those Infotiles and Infolets, how you can add a graph. And then Lee's really going to get into turning your analysis into an Infolet and how you have both sides and how you can do it. This is not very complicated stuff, but it really is powerful. Again, if you're a customer and your SI isn't doing this, doesn't take a ton of time, but it really does add your user experience. If you are live and you haven't done any of these, you can always add them at any given time, and it really does make a huge difference to expand on the ones that Oracle gives you out of the box with some that are personal to your own organization. So with that, let's do introductions. I will hand it over to my compatriot from across the pond and across the table.
Wow, we're just riffing today, are we?
We are riffing. We are riffing.
So, good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever we're going to say. Everyone, my name is Lee Briggs. I'm the Cloud ERP Team Director here at Creole, fully owned subsidiary of SMX. I've been here since actually 2017. The slide's been wrong the entire time. I've been working with Oracle applications since 2001. I started on 11.5.10, and I did EBS for the first my first 12 years, I guess, to 2013. Did our first financials, actually the first financials and HCM implementation in the US in 2013, and since then I've been completely on the cloud applications. Got my degree in accounting and finance from University of Leicester in England, so I know what a debit is and what a credit is. Got my master's in management from the University of Northampton, go Cobblers. And I've been an Oracle Ace, the name of this session, of this series, I guess. I've been an Ace since 2013. So Oracle Ace is not something you can pay for. It's not an exam you can study for. Back in the day, you had to be nominated. You had to be nominated as knowing what you were talking about and giving back to the community. And that's something I got in 2013. It's something we actually have to keep renewing every year. So you still have to do your presentations every year in order to be able to qualify that. Finally, I was the inaugural OATUG Star Presenter of the Year. So that's an award given out by OATUG for presentations to within that community. I got that award in 2014. Thomas.
Thank you, Lee. My name is Tom Simkiss. I am the Commercial and SLED Practice Director for Creole Consulting, a wholly owned subsidiary of SMX. I have been here since 2017. I am a JD, so I got my my Juris Doctorate degree from the James A. Beasley School of Law and Temple University in 2002. I got my Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics and Business Administration from Ursinus College all the way back in 1995. Go Bears. And I'm also a certified public accountant in the state of Pennsylvania. I, too, am an Oracle Ace. I got my Aceness in 2014, 1 year after Lee, which is why he lovingly refers to himself as the first ace.
No, I refer to you as the second ace, just so we're clear.
Fair enough. And I, too, was the OETG Star Presenter of the Year in 2017. We did not actually present this year at the Ascend Conference, which is the OETG conference, but it was a really good conference. If anybody went to Cloud World, you guys know it was a really good conference this year. If you did not go and you've been on the fence about going, I would urge you to consider it. It was probably the best conference that I've been to from a information sharing and partner enablement conference that I've seen in quite a long time. With that, let's talk about what is an infolet. So infolets add a data visualization, right? So it is a tool that you use. It's interactive. It is in the shape of a box. Some of them are expandable or flippable. So depending upon your views and as you are configuring those, you can decide how you want them to behave. They are real time. So these things are connected to OTBI. Now, if you are using Oracle Analytics, you can connect Oracle the pre-built analytics business areas. Those are not real time. That is built off a data warehouse. You got to be cognizant about that. So, Oracle Analytics is a really good tool. Most of our discussions have been focused on OTBI, which is the stuff that comes out of the box that you are able to use as part of your Oracle Cloud licensing. So there are a bunch of seeded infolets that are available on the homepage, and they're also available at the bottom of the page. So if you scroll down, you can see the different ones.
Yeah. Okay, so as Tom says, infolets display pertinent information. So what you want to see about your company at a glance. It means you can still run analyses, run the analyses that go with these, but as we saw on the prior slide, everything there was available on the home page. So you can see that stuff out there. As Tom also mentioned, you can flip between them. We certainly can design to flip between them. So in the example we're actually going to build out today, I'm looking at, it's some use case like I want to see all my payments that I've made that are over $5 million. I've got a first slide, the first infolet I have literally just says, here's the count of those. You flip it over, it actually gives you a pie chart. Was how I built it. So you can see each of the payments by supplier and by amount, and then you can actually get down to the individual detail of it. So, pulling back payment numbers, that kind of thing. But it allows you, it has that flexibility. Well, one tool out there to view the details in 3 different ways. It is designed to give you summarized information. So again, some of the slides we saw before, we could see like there was a balance sheet analysis, there was days outstanding, there was looking at your account reconciliations. Really cool tool, but summarized that you can go and look elsewhere. Now, this tool is not intended to be a replacement for your reports. It is there purely as a visual. How am I doing? Do I need to go and pay attention to that? One of the things that we've, I always cover in any of my implementations is Oracle wants you to be proactive about stuff, right? Let me give you the information ahead of time so you can then choose to go and look at it rather than, okay, it's Friday, I better go and take a look at this. You actually get that idea of, okay, it's on my dashboard, I see it straight away. And as Tom said at the beginning, every slide you saw out there is seeded out there, but you can build your own. And that really is the purpose of today's session. We're looking at building our own infolets and how we're doing it out there. Okay, so here's an overview. You can actually see which infolets you want to look at as we go through. So I'm on the home page. I've gone down to the bottom of the page where my analytics are. Again, the user I'm using in a demo instance is Casey Brown. Anyone who has access to a demo instance, Casey has access to everything, which is why Casey sees a ton of stuff out here, whether it is general accounting stuff, whether it is source to settlement, whether it is procure to pay, any of that stuff. Casey sees it all. But you can just choose just from clicking on that icon. I've put a box around that icon in the top right, just so you can see it out here. When we start building this and we start getting into the sandbox area, that icon is a little tough to see. So if you're listening to this on playback, I'm drawing attention to that infolet. When we come back to it later on, you'll see why. Well, that's that icon out there. But with on this screen, I can choose what I want to see. Casey wants to see the AP reconciliation, the AR reconciliation. He wants to see balance sheet. He wants to see all this stuff, but he's turned off some of the items. He's turned off margins. You can see halfway down the page out there. You'll see some dupes out there. In an Oracle demo instance, they push these things out and they just come up with dupe names sometimes. So that's why we're seeing those out there. Okay. For each of these infolets, you get 3 views. So the front view is always used to show aggregated numbers. It gives you some kind of icon just as a, let me look at it. I get what it's trying to tell me already. The back view typically gives you some more information about it, maybe displaying that same aggregation in a different way. Again, the example I've used, I'm just showing a pie chart there. And then the expanded view typically gives you more details about it. Maybe you want to see all, in the case we have, I want to see all the payments, I want to see the supplier names, I want to see all that kind of stuff, maybe some dates out there. So those are typically the tools. Ideally, when you build these infolets, the front view and the back view, since they're on the same tile, they are the same size. So if you build, and Oracle talks about it at 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells, typically front view or back view or 1 by 1, 2 by 2, something like that. The expanded view is typically a bigger page, so maybe it was 2 by 2, now it's going to be 3 by 2, so it's slightly wider, lets you put that data in there, but you can control all that information. So here's one of the examples we had from the prior slide, from the first slide we had out there. It was journals. There was $56.1 thousand worth of journals that need something done with them. It's also a count of 27 of those, making up that 56 grand. And all these ones are less than 10 days old. Sorry, greater than 10 days old. Back view just lets me put some thresholds in there so I can actually anyway serve as an infolet, as an input to control that. So front view displays first. I click the arrow pointing to the right. It shows me the back view. On the back view, I can go back to the front view, the arrow pointing to the left, or I can expand the 2 arrows looking out. And if I click on the 2 arrows, I now get my expanded view. This is my accounts. In this case, that 56 grand is made up of $0, 0 journals in error. 21 of them are pending approval. 6 of them are incomplete. These can also be actionable. So I can hover my mouse over something like the incomplete, click on it, and it takes me to, here is the information about those incomplete ones. We can see the incomplete journals we have out there were all copied. Brody did something with them a few years back. Again, as a demo instance, so I'm not really worried about it. But I can see exactly what's going on with them. I can get the screen. You're going to say, Lee, there's 6 there. Why you only see 5? Literally, the table only shows you 5, and you can scroll through, which is why the screen is a little bit cut off at the bottom. I wanted to see that 6th record out there. Okay, so that's all drillable. I can still click into those batch names, and now I can get into the batch. I can do whatever I want to do. Okay. The other item we want to talk about is Infolets. There's still security involved. It is still role specific. So if, Casey in this case can see everything, that's why you can see GL and AP and AR or whatever. If you log in with a different user, maybe like one of the projects people like Curtis Beatty in the demo instance, if Curtis doesn't have payables information, he wouldn't be able to see those Infolets. If Curtis only has access, had access to general ledger, but only one ledger, he would only see information from that ledger. So that security still holds true. It's still, Oracle focuses really heavily on that security. That security will follow through there. Right. So that's giving you an idea of the Infolet. Let's go and create analysis. I'm going to give you the use case we have out there. I'll talk about the.
Sorry, I didn't get that. The internet isn't reachable.
So I'm assuming you can still hear us.
Heidi, can you confirm we just got an error that our internet just went down?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Cool. Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So we're going to create an analysis. We're going to go through the entire gamut. So I want to go through the use case. Our use case is, I want to see supplier payments which are greater than or equal to $5 million. I want to have an analysis. I want to have a performance tile. So I want to see a count. And I want to see a pie chart which breaks this out. That is the use case we're given. That's what we're going to build. So step 1, I'm going to create a new folder in OTBI just to keep all this stuff separate so I know what I'm working on. So I've gone to OTBI, I've gone to reports and analytics. I always go to the admin view of this so I can expand it out a little bit. I've gone into shared, financials, I think it goes down to payables, custom, and I've created a folder out there. You can see this one was created this week, but there's my folder, Afternoon with Aces. I'm then going to create my analysis. So what do I want the analysis part to work through? And I always build the analysis first because I know what I need to pull back. I've got, hopefully with this use case, I've got if you run it for this criteria, this is what you're going to get. This is what I want to build first. So I've just started pulling my columns. You'll notice I've got no business units on here. I've got nothing else on here. Deliberately, I wanted to get results back just for the purposes of the demo. So I've gone through my analysis and I've pulled the fields how I want to see them. I've got my check number, my supplier, my payment date, my payment currency, my payment amount, and my payment status. I've put filters on some of those. So my filters are payment amount is greater than or equal to 5 million. Payment status is not equal in, so but I'm basically excluding a bunch of stuff. I don't want voided payments out here. I don't want spoiled payments. I don't want any of that stuff. And again, I was just pulling data back. And then the last one is just want to do this for a range. I didn't want to inundate you with data, so I went back to beginning of 2023.
So just a couple things on that. So an infotile is built to show a very finite piece of information, right? It's a graph, it's a number as of a specific point in time. So Lee has this hard-coded, and again, it's a demo environment as of 2023. When you are building these, it is really important that you make them limiting, but also dynamic. So typically what we will do is we will try to put a SQL code in there to put a date so that rather than hard coding 2023, it would be, sys date minus 10 or some other cast function to get the beginning of the GL period. And that's really where the art of this comes in. So Lee's showing this as a good example, and this is exactly the way you should do it. When you build these things, make sure you build something that is testable, that is going to work, and then once you get it to work, you can obviously tweak it so it's dynamic.
Yep. Okay, so I built my analysis. I've then saved it within that custom folder I created out there. So the bottom slide you see, bottom right, you can see I'm saving this in shared folders, custom, afternoon with aces, and I just call that payments analysis. And I try and keep the naming as sensible as I can, especially when I'm doing infolets, so I know what my front view is, what my back view is, what my expansion is. That's my analysis. That's all good and easy. Once I've got my analysis, you can see the results there. Now I'm going to create my performance tile. So I may use the same kind of analysis on there. I may not, but I'm now saving this as something else. I'm creating my performance tile. So I've gone to my visualization icon, the one that looks like a chart. Now I can pick and choose what I want to look like, or this to look like. Now, when you start getting like CRM, if you have any CRM folks who do kind of analysis all the time, they will have so much fun with these visualizations. I'm going to struggle on that word. And
You are
properly.
Yep.
For me, I would say I'm a dumb accountant. I'm a dumb analyst, right? So I like tables, I like charts. That's the kind of thing I go with. But you can build heat maps, tree maps, all that kind of thing. The starburst, all that kind of stuff. For me, this is a performance tile. I've selected performance tile. Now I can see this is what it's going to look like. Again, I changed my analysis a little bit to get a count. Literally, I put a column in there. It's a calculation column to give me a count. So that's where that measure is coming through. I'm telling you I've done this. I'm not showing you on the screen to do it because I'll give most of this away, but some of it I'll keep behind. I've selected which measure I want to show out there. In this case, in my analysis, I still have dollar amounts. I have count. Literally, that's all it's going to show. It's going to show measures which have got numbers in there. So I could have shown 17 payments for a total of $1 gazillion or whatever it is. Could have done that. My measure, I've selected the column I want to show on the screen. The label, I'm not using the measure name. The measure name would say count check number. I don't want that. For this one, I've called it big payments. I want something that's catchy that you will look at straight away. I don't want War and Peace written out there because your box is relatively small when it appears on the system. So it's just something to catch your eye. I know what that one is. And I put a description under there, which always appears as a smaller font where you can bring that stuff out there. So in this case, just an idea of what this is. You'll see on all of those layout fields out there, I can play around with fonts and colors. I haven't documented that. We'll see later on that I put this on a blue background, I think it is. Black on blue doesn't look good, so I would have also changed the font color as I go through this. And it's literally click on that A, pick the color that works for you, or if you just put in the RGB values or whatever, you'll get kind of your true branded color out there. Okay. The other thing I will do on my performance tile, I will start building out how big this tile is going to be. So you've got a tile size field up there. I think it has like small, medium, and large originally, or you can have custom. I always put pixel sizes out there just so I have an idea of what's going through there, and I can control that screen by screen. But you can say just increase it to fit the screen, shrink it down, don't use auto fit, you can do all that kind of stuff. You can also talk about the values and the labels. So if you start seeing millions, billions, trillions out there, do you want to show that? Or do you just want to show it, it's 1M, it's 1B, it's 1T, whatever. You can start doing that. Also on this tile, properties, this is where you can control the backgrounds. This is where I'm putting in the background for this infolet will be blue. The border will be red. I can put all that stuff. The other thing which harkens back to our FRS reports, you can actually do some conditional formatting on there. If it's negative, show it in red. If it's positive, show it in black, whatever. You can do all that kind of stuff. So there's my performance tile. I've done that, and again, it's analysis. I've saved the look and feel for it, the performance tile. I'm going to save that as performance tile. I'm then going to take the same analysis and do exactly the same thing and save it as a graph. And this time I'm choosing the visualization of the graph. So previously we did visualization of performance tile. Now this is just a visualization of a chart, a pie chart in this case. I can control whether the labels I have. Again, this is the demo instance we have out there. We said look for payments of over $5 million, I think it was. CDW has got $159 million worth of payments made up of smaller payments out there. But that's what we're looking for there. The other cool thing about these charts as we build them out, you can hover over them, get that information. So we have all that kind of stuff. It's the same analysis for each one of these visualizations. The analysis, the performance tile, and the graph is just picking different visualizations for each of them. Okay. Now, the one thing I do on the chart, I take away titles. By default, the graph title will have a title out there. I always take that out because it starts filling up the infolet with that kind of information. On the chart, I want the chart as big as I can, so I generally take that title off. Again, there's nothing to stop you doing that, but you can certainly do that. Tom, I think, do we have a question showing up there?
We just got one.
Yeah.
Can Infolets be used for core OTBI reports? So the answer is yes. You can use Infotiles and Infolets across any data that's available within OTBI. And the nice thing about that is, as Lee said a few slides ago, the security goes across, right? So as long as you have the appropriate security on business areas within Oracle ERP and OTBI, that security comes lost to the Infotiles. Thank you for the question.
Awesome. You know what's so refreshing, just as an aside from this? We had an HR question.
We did. I know. That is nice. Yes.
Thank you for whoever asked that. That's truly, well, I say truly made my day. It hasn't really made my day, but it's really made this session. Thank you. Okay, so I removed my my titles for this one. Okay. Again, I'm still on the graph. I'm still playing around with the properties. So because my graph is going to be the back page of this, I want it to be the same size. We talked at the beginning. The info tile has a front page and a back page. They should be the same size because you're going to flip it around. You don't want your screen kind of all the other info tiles moving around. So as you just bounce back and forth, I've made this exactly the same size. So 300 pixels both ways out there. Okay, we did our analysis. That was the first one. We did our performance tile. That was the count that we saw earlier. And then we did the graph as the third one. Let's pull them all together. We're going to turn those into an infolet. Now, to do this part, you do need some additional access out there. So this is literally application administrator stuff out here. Typically, some clients will let you build those kind of infolets, but to push this stuff out, you're going to probably need some help from your sysadmins, someone who can truly push this out, and they'll want to do this in a test environment first, obviously, before moving it to prod. I did this in a demo instance, so I can do anything I want out there. I built it directly, but I wanted you to see those steps. So the first thing we're going to do is create a sandbox. A sandbox allows us to change the look and feel of the screen. That's what we use when we do branding on clients, when you start changing the backgrounds, to maybe the color schemes. You use sandbox for all that kind of stuff. Our ATM folks use sandboxes all the time to show additional fields. You have all those kind of tools there. So for the lovely attendee who will ask the ATM questions, you're probably familiar with this part. But we're going to put our sandbox out here. So I've gone, my user can do this. So I've gone to configuration and I've gone to sandboxes. I'm now going to create a sandbox. So this is the screen that I'm going to be looking in. As soon as I went to that screen, I just said create the sandbox. I've called it Afternoon with Aces Sandboxes. I've made it publishable so I can do stuff with it. And then the tools I have available where I can do appearance stuff and structure stuff, I'm not worried about that. I'm doing Page Composer. Literally, I'm just going to be able to change what I can do in within the page. Okay. Once I've got to my Page Composer, now I start going through what I need to do out here. So I've gone to my Infolet page, so that home page that I've been out to. I'm then going in my settings, and this is going to the top right where your icon or initials are. I've gone to that page and it said Edit Pages. This will enable one button that we're going to talk about. Remember when I went to that Infolet screen, we were showing what Casey had picked to see, and I said there's an icon up there that you can see. I'm pointing it out now. The next slide is the one I'm talking about. Because the sandbox reverts some of your color schemes out there, you cannot see where that big blue arrow at the right-hand side at the top is pointing to that icon. I'm still pointing there. That's where Casey was originally, where he was picking that stuff. I've clicked on that icon, and at the bottom, you will now have Create Infolet available to you. Previously, if we didn't do the sandbox stuff, you wouldn't be able to do that. So we've gone and clicked on Infolet. The next slide, and this is a horrible screenshot to try and take a screenshot of the screen because it starts expanding as you build it out and you can't get it on one page. So I have created my Infolet. I've given it a title, Payments Over $5 Million, and I've selected front page has to be enabled. It's an Infolet, it has to have one page. I said that's a 1x1 cell. My back view, I enabled it. As soon as I enabled it, expanded the page. To then show what that back page will look like. Again, it's going to be the same size. The expanded view at the bottom, it's gone off the page. I've said that is I think it actually changed it to 3x2 as I came through here. So I did 2x2, 2x2, 3x2. That's what it is going to go through as we start looking at that. Again, if you're documenting this internally, this is horrible to document. Sorry, but that's what it is. Okay. Once you have that part done, bottom right screen shows up. So this is what your Infolet will be, and you'll add content. You will literally have to do this 3 times. First screen, you're going to select that Infolet and say add content and point to your performance page. It'll say, you sure about this? Yes. It'll drop you back to the screen with all the Infolets on. You'll still click on that same Infolet, say add content, add the graph page. It'll dump you out. Go back into it, add the expanded view. So you do that 3 times. Again, documenting that is horrible. When you go through it, if you remember, add the content, go back into it, add the content, go back into it, add the content. That'll give you something like that. There's my front page, and this is a masterpiece now. It shows what the title was. I called it Payments Over $5 Million. It shows big payments. That was the title of my performance page. It gives me a count, 17 payments. And what it is, 17 payments greater than $5 million. I click on the right icon to get me to the back view. That shows the chart of all those broken back by suppliers. I could have had a legend on there. I didn't like it because it starts shrinking everything down. But if you hover over the chart, you'll find out who they are. And on the right side, with no formatting on there, here's the check number, payment number, whatever. Here's the suppliers, here's the payment amounts. You get all that great detail out there. That is your analysis. You're almost there. You built out the analysis. You can toggle through those tiles. Next step, you have to publish that sandbox. You're literally just going into the publish page, into the same sandbox page and just say publish it. And now you're good to go. There is our wonderful payment out there. Our Infolet is now ready to go, ready for use for whoever can pick it now. We ran through a bunch of steps there. We built the analysis. We then, based on that, saved it off, maybe put another condition on there to get a count. We built the performance tile to change the visualization to show the count out there and what we want that to look like. We saved it again. Then we changed the visualization to a pie chart and have that stuff out. We then, after we got everything in a good shape there, we then built a sandbox, created a sandbox, created an Infolet, brought all that information together and had it readily available for us.
The steps that Lee went through to do this Infotile are very similar to what you would do if you wanted to create your own custom dashboard on your homepage. So just as you can have these Infotiles, you can have a dashboard be your landing page. And I bring that up because, you know, as we talked about these Infotiles, they are really very simple snapshots. And that is what they're intended to do. You really can't consume or utilize prompts with these. If you are looking to have something interactive, then you're looking for a dashboard. But you would use the exact same methodology. You have to go to a sandbox, you have to create a dashboard page, you can actually create a new page, and then you're adding your content. As long as you have your dashboard created, you can just kind of select it and publish it to your one page. So that's really good to consider. This is a great piece of functionality. Again, if you're really just trying to get people to consume things quickly, this is probably one of the easiest ways to do it. And it really is very powerful. With that, go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
Let's say, as Tom said, it's a tool you own. Before you start looking at the other stuff, you own this already. So it's always, in my experience, if I've already paid for stuff, I want to make the biggest bang out of that already. But with that, we had the awesome question from our HR compatriot. Thank you so much for that. Does anyone have any questions on what we've gone through today? Maybe any of the other sessions? And while you're typing, if you're typing those in, anyone's got any ideas for what they would like to see? And this isn't a we're out of ideas. We do these sessions for you guys. So if anyone's got burning topics, they're like, hey, you guys, since you're doing this for free, show us how to. Light us up. You can enter them in the questions now. Tom and I are both on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to us. I mean, we get all the attendee reports anyway. Feel free to reach out to us. We're on social media at BT Lee Briggs, at Thomas Simkiss, at Arth with Aces, I think is on Twitter. We can reach out to us there and just hit us up for questions.
Lee, can you be fair? Can you go back to slide, I think it's slide 26, we do have questions about like what type of analysis or infotiles you can use. So if you could just, yep, that's the one. Thank you. So you really can do a lot of different things. Thank you for the question. We typically see, very simple pie charts or bar charts or numbers. Those are the things where this really lends itself to infotiles. So, where we typically use these, my financials folks, they typically want to get their DSO, their open AR, their open AP, and even though that information is available in other places, just having it some infotiles really does a nice job. And you can enable drill down to these things. So from these infotiles, you can drill down from these. You can configure the drill down to launch indirectly into OTBI reports. So you do have quite a bit of flexibility with those. And the last thing I'll say, because hopefully that answers your question. If it does not, please let me know. And I will do my best to amend my comment. But before we sign off, if we don't have any questions, we did put a poll out last year. I mentioned this on Friday. We did put a poll out last year. We got around 100 votes, I think, on what topics people did want us to present. And that is what drove primarily this reporting session. Series. Yeah, thank you, Lee. I will be doing a webinar on Tuesday with Jeff Hare from ERP Risk Advisors. I think it is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on why ERP implementations fail. This is the second in a series of webinars that we're doing. Lee and I are doing something ourselves with Andrew Benet at some point in November, December. So that will be coming out. And we will announce our 2025 series probably in the next few weeks as soon as we get some inspiration from either you folks or from the good Lord. Seeing no additional questions, thank you so much for your attendance. It's been great throughout the year. We do love to share our knowledge with you guys and are always looking for feedback. Have a great holiday season, and we will see you in 2025.
Have a great one, everyone. Thank you.